us again, and welcome to Heroes and Droids, your guided movies and TV shows about superheroes, sci-fi, Disney, and action. From Marvel to DC, from Star Wars to Star Trek, from James Bond to the Fast and the Furious, we will review the theatrical films and streaming delights you care about most. Yes, this week we're reviewing The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 5, The Jedi. I am your host, Doc Rutt, and joining me tonight are, first up, the one and only Slatman, Chris Slattery. How you doing, sir?
Fantastic.
Yeah, you see any good TV lately?
Oh, I don't know. Just this episode of this crazy Star Wars series.
This crazy Star Wars series. Yes, this may be one of the most anticipated and the most talked about episodes of Mandalorian ever. But we'll get to all that here soon. Also joining us tonight is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Moore. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. Ahsoka Tano can sneak up on me in the fog any day of the week. Just saying.
Yes. Lightsabers ablazing. Yeah. Okay, I hear you. It's a sad world. All right, let's go on to podcaster Rockstar International cosplay queen Vanessa Thompson. How you doing?
You know, there's a tree rape joke in there somewhere.
Oh my God, that's weird. How did you get there?
Chris? Evil Dead? That's a very far jump. Chris in the woods. Chris lost in the woods. Come rescue me. You guys are making me look pervert.
Well, I didn't know where you were going with it. You know, this is supposed to be a wholesome show, and suddenly it's not.
I get the Evil Dead joke, but I was not going there. But
all right, kiddies, just sit down with mom and pop. They'll explain everything that you're having to do. Just show them the picture and point where the. No, anyway. All right, tonight we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian. This is a crazy, awesome episode, and let me just throw. We're going to throw caution to the wind. We're going full spoilers on this. If you haven't seen this and you haven't watched 100 other YouTube episodes, certainly you know what happened in this episode. We're just going to dive in full spoilers. It's just too good, too rich not to. A lot of great things happen, and we're going to start the spoilers off with the card because, yep, there she is. She showed up. We'll talk about her in a minute. All right, Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 5, Chapter 13, The Jedi. It premiered on Disney Plus November 27, 2020. Written and directed by Dave Filoni. The cast includes Pedro Pascal, Michael Biehn, Rosario Dawson, and Diana Lee Inosanto. Close to that, I'm sure. The Mandalorian and the child continue their journey through a dangerous galaxy. One of the weakest synopsis ever for one of the best episodes ever. This is going to be really, really fun to talk about. We're going to give our first thoughts, and then we're going to dive in, and then we're going to wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. We can't all pick the trees, Christopher. We can't all pick the trees.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot
wooden pole.
Shotgun with a 10-foot lightsaber.
There you go. Wow, you do have it as a He's got lightsaber envy there.
Move on.
All right, we're gonna.
This never happened.
Using my force is not the joke you were looking for.
This is not the joke.
All right, Chris Slatman, you're up first. What was your first impression of The Jedi?
It was fan-freaking-tastic.
Yes, it was.
Everything was great. The only nitpick I have for the entire episode is the voice of Rosario Dawson is not the same voice I've been listening to for the last 13 years, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Everything was awesome. Rosario Dawson was great as Ahsoka. She got the mannerisms down. She got the movements down. You even saw her go into like what I would consider Ahsoka's iconic lightsaber stance.
Yes,
towards the end. And the story was very well told. It's still a very episodic-esque story where everything is pretty much contained, but it works. It's great. And it ends with one of the best build-ups to what's coming next ever. The best name drop. Outside of saying that Vader would be a part of it, and I can't think of anyone else that I'd rather have a part of this series going forward.
Yeah, I know we got
and I guess I'll wait for the spoiler wall before I drop that name.
Yeah, we could do that, but yeah, we got Boba Fett early in the season. We got somebody special this season. Yes. All right. Up next is Vanessa Thompson. What was your first impression of this episode? Did you know what was going on? Were you familiar with this character?
Only in passing, not that I've actually read or seen any of the context of her work. So, and you know how we were talking last time, I was like, I don't know about Rosario Dawson. Not totally sold that she'll be able to pull off this character that I only know, kind of a tertiary. She was amazing.
Yeah.
Good. And to me, the voice fit perfectly, but only because I've never heard, I know what Ashley Eckstein sounds like, but I've never heard her as Ahsoka. So to me, I'm hearing this character for the very first time. And I just thought it was awesome. And this was a great, fun episode. We got so much information out of it surrounding this little guy here.
Perhaps the second name drop in the episode.
Right?
Which
is the most important drop. Right? No, it was great. And before I forget, I'm super excited that this amazing show, that two of some of the standout characters in it, one of the main characters are Latino. That is so awesome to me.
Yeah.
It's really good to see that. And for people to be so accepting of that, it just feels really good that there's so much hype around this, and it's two Latino people, at the helm of it.
That's right. Yeah. There's so much going on in this episode, and we definitely want your input, especially because while you knew who this character was by name, this was fresh for you. This was the first time really, sitting down with this character. And I find that quite exciting to kind of have that introduction. And that I'm glad to hear that coming in cold, it still works as well as it does for us who have seen it. And then, of course, the Slapman's been watching it forever. And Christopher and I think really the first time we saw her in earnest was this past year when we did Clone Wars, right?
I mean, I've seen a few episodes in the very beginning of her, but I never really watched anything. I mean, I think I did watch that one episode in Rebels where she fights Darth Vader because I'd heard about it, but I really hadn't been that dedicated to it. I was one of these people. I wasn't really into the Clone Wars in the very beginning because I saw the animated movie where they put the episodes together, and it just wasn't working for me. I know, and weirdly, I know there was a lot of people who had issues with the Ahsoka Tano character in the very beginning, but it's kind of those things that once you grow into it.
She was so annoying at the very beginning.
Well, I think that's why. She's almost like the Luke who later became, better towards where everybody's always complaining about Luke. We're the power converters, she was almost like that in the very beginning. So I could understand that annoyance, but I think as you got to sort of grow to watch her, from what I've heard, and you get to watch her progression, and learn the Force and all that kind of stuff, you get to grow to love her. And I think, and any kind of transition from animation to live action, it's not going to be perfect. You can't always translate certain things to live action perfectly, because a lot of times you may not have somebody who may not look like that person or talk like that person, or, I know that there's a lot of people complaining about her. What's it called? The Leku or whatever. That's the things that the tendrils that hang down, because they're supposedly they would be much longer because of her age. But I've also heard that maybe part of that had to do with her ability to move around in live action, as opposed to animation, which you can do pretty much anything, because you don't have to worry about physics and creating something that moves with you when you're swinging lightsabers. So, but I think when it comes to, in the same way we saw the people from the Death Watch or whatever, what was the main character from that, Chris?
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan. You saw that, how she's a really good translation from that. And I think Ahsoka Tano, which you have someone who didn't voice that person, and I don't know, it may offend to some people. I've seen like a Ashley Eckstein dress up as the character. It doesn't feel the same. I feel like what we got here is a better representation of that character. I think the best thing we've seen is when they've taken characters from the Clone Wars and you see their movement is just is similar to what they did in the Clone Wars. So I think that attention to detail really works, and then her incorporation to that. I mean, this makes me like really excited for a possible spinoff of this character and getting her own series, because I would watch that, because the action scenes in this are amazing. I mean,
they are. Well, before we get too far down that road, we probably should get your first impression, which I think is all in the.
It's a horrible episode.
Subtext of what you just said.
Horrible. I just wanted to take a lightsaber to my TV. No, I'm just kidding. No. This is pretty amazing. I will say, initially in the very beginning, I was kind of worried, because I feel like when we had that initial thing where Ahsoka Tano, can't even pronounce her name. AT, when she talked to the magistrate, and then we had the Michael Biehn, who I didn't even realize was in this series. I was like, yay, another Alien reference. When they're talking, it seemed very stilted, and it had me a little bit worried. But I've watched it a few times since then. So I did enjoy this a lot. I mean, just rewatching the just that initial thing. I mean, they don't even wait for her to show up. This is one of those things like Jaws, where she shows up at the very end. She comes straight out of her lightsaber comes straight out of the camera into action. Yep. And we get to see a lot of the same action we've seen, and like we saw it in Rogue One, where Darth Vader's lightsabers light up in the dark, or we saw a little bit of that actually in Phantom Menace, when Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan, when you see that when that gas comes up and you see the lightsabers show up, and she's like the beginning of this episode is like a slasher film. She's basically Jason Voorhees, but with lightsabers, because she's just taking out people left and right using her force powers. She's thinking through things. I mean, it's amazing. And I think, her interaction and stuff, we get so many elements that not only reference the prequels, but reference the original trilogy as well. So I was pretty much geeking out throughout this whole episode, because it made me really excited. And, we get sort of a very, I'm sure we'll reveal it, but we get to know the name of Yoda, the baby Yoda,
the
child. We finally get the name. So, but I'm sure people will still call him Baby Yoda. They're not going to change all the merchandising stuff because of this one episode. No. It'll just allow them to have the special edition with his name on it. So yeah, I think it's a well-crafted episode that's got some, and if anything, Star Wars was initially thought up. I mean, granted, we have like the sci-fi serials, but a lot of it was inspired by Akira Kurosawa, based on samurai movies that he's made, including there's a scene that's basically a shot-by-shot remake of Yojimbo to some degree.
Yes.
I know some people are comparing the fight between the women like Kill Bill, but Kill Bill was actually inspired by stuff before that. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, that scene gave me chills, and it's funny how you have they have a simultaneous fight between the Mando and Michael Bihn's character. At the same time, you have the magistrate and Ahsoka Tano's character, and they're doing like a samurai fight, but at the same time, it's also reflective of that fight at the end of New Hope, where old Darth Vader is fighting old Obi-Wan, and they're going that slow, methodical lightsaber fight, and that was sort of similar to that. So anyway, I love the heck out of this. I think I was kind of worried how they would be able to introduce a character, but Dave Filoni is, and I don't want to lose credit to Jon Favreau as well, because I think Jon Favreau is a big part of this universe as well as Dave Filoni. But the reason he wrote and directed this episode, because he introduced those characters as one of the co-creators of Clone Wars, and you can sort of see his love for that character, making sure that he had the best introduction for her character into a live action atmosphere. And so, yeah, I think no wonder everybody's talking about this, even though there's also haters that have come out about it as well, which comes to the territory. Anytime you have a strong female character, people are like, oh my God. There was somebody somebody on TikTok was reading it as a weepy fanboy, where somebody had given it 1 star, saying that of course they introduced a strong female character who's trying to emasculate Mando.
No,
just get over yourself.
I love it.
But yeah, it's a great episode.
Well, I'll keep my reaction short so we can get into all the goodness. I had a great time from this, from the moment it started up and we get the introduction. I mean, we get that cold open with her. We have no idea where we are, little idea, and then we see her. And it's such a great introduction to the character, the power and the stealth that she has, and we get to see lightsabers for the first time outside of the one time at the end of the first season, which may or may not count depending on how you look at it. And then we get name drops. We get all kinds of find out more about the child, including his name and the relationship between the two. Mando and the child, or Din. We got to call him Din now, right? And of course, Rosario Dawson nailed it. They nailed the look. They nailed everything. And when she's like running across the building tops and everything and jumping down, and it just works throughout. And it was incredibly exciting. And Michael Biehn is in this. That's Lang, this gun for hire. And we get this great shootout at the OK Corral, right? Gunfight to OK Corral ending between the two of them, and worked out so well. And his dialogue was so good. His dialogue was so good in that scene. Like, sounds like you would. There's a lot of great stuff in this, and we got to talk about it. Where do we start? I think
Grogu.
Yeah, let's start with Grogu. We found out that's the name, Grogu. I know some people, perhaps in my family, that aren't entirely enjoying that name. They don't hate it, but it doesn't have quite the affectionate kind of name that the child or Yoda Baby does, or Baby Yoda does. Does anybody else feel that way, or is everybody digging this name?
I think it's fine.
It's fine, you say.
I think I don't have a problem with it, because I mean, look at all the crazy names we have in Star Wars. This is the name you're gonna put your flag on and say, "Oh my God, what's Star Wars done?" Just get over yourself. I mean, Star Wars is full of all kinds of wacky names. I mean, my only issue with it, or an issue that I see with it, is like everybody's always comparing him to Groot.
Baby Groot, yep.
Yeah, and Grogu sounds a little too similar, but I'm sure they thought this name through. Makes me wonder if even Lucas might have, George Lucas might have had a say in it, because he did, meet this little child. So so I really don't have a problem. We had another of the species called Yaddle.
Yaddle, better than Yaddle.
I have more problems with
Yaddle. Miles better than
Yaddle. Sounds like a candy bar. This is not
Yaddle.
Grogu, Grogu sounds like something you put on a plant to let it grow. But I mean, yeah. So it is Grogu? What it is.
That's what you're going with.
Put some Grogu on that. The plant will grow faster. I don't know. I could say something else. That would bring us back in bad territory. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It's Star Wars. Star Wars is known for having wacky, weird names. I remember people like Qui-Gon. People thought that was weird. It's like Mace Windu. I mean, they're all weird names. It just comes with the territory.
Oh, no,
he's not going to be called Bob. Okay,
Bob. That would be so funny. Her name's Bob.
Yeah.
What do you think, Vanessa? I mean, you sent the pic in our chat with Ahsoka leaning into Mando going, Grogu.
I think no matter what it was, people would have been a little shocked at first. It could have been anything. It could have been his name is actually Baby Yoda, and people would be like, "Oh my God, what?" So it's like with all the haters making comments about strong female characters, Grogu's name, like at some point, it's just white noise, right? Because those of us that enjoy it can just tune that out and continue to enjoy something. I think it's a cute name. Why not? Like he's kind of frog-like, and that's kind of frog-like name. So
okay, I can buy that. I can buy that.
You know what? I'm trying to live a peace life, man. Everything that comes my way, and that's a shame.
I mean, that.
You also have to think about it. Like when Yoda was first introduced, like how many people sat there and was just like, "What the fuck is this name, Yoda?" So we're kind of like going through the same thing, but with Grogu instead.
Yeah,
give it a month and everyone knows.
What's a Yoda? What's Yoda? Well, we also get the affirmation of the relationship between Din. What's his last name?
Jaren.
Yeah, Din. And Grogu. I guess we have to call him now.
Our kid calls him
the kid, the child, the ball again. The that he unscrews off of the controller thing, the stick shift or whatever. What did we think of that?
I'm so happy they brought that back.
Yeah. It was when he put it in his pocket. I was like, okay, there's going to do something with that. Why is it there? And I loved how they made that work.
Well, he gets to play ball with his kid.
Yeah.
How adorable is that?
Oh my God, he does. Why did I not see that?
I mean, that's basically it. He's playing catch with his kid. And I will have to say one of my favorite things of rewatching this episode is when he says his name to him and he looks over all excited like, ooh, he said my name. And I love that expression. I mean, I think I'll tell you one thing. I think one of the most amazing things about this show is them taking a character which is mostly practical and making it feel real. There's a scene where the Grogu like crawls up in his seat, and it looks like a little baby, a little toddler crawling up in his seat. And I every time I watched it, I actually rewinded it one time because it looks so cute and so realistic, And his reaction when he turns and his ears and he's like, and his mouth opens a little bit. It's so like amazing. Mm-hmm. We've come a long way from the Yoda puppet from New Hope. And then when he tried to do it CGI, it just didn't work. It didn't feel real. So just having the technology that we have now.
And he was so talkative this episode too.
Oh yeah, he's cooing up a storm.
He's cooing up even more. He's goo goo and gaga and every bit, or Grugoing and Grugon. He's just doing. He's just. I don't know. It's and I think another moment when you go back and watch it is when he's about to fall asleep. And she mentions Master Yoda, and he wakes up and looks over.
Oh,
he has that acknowledgement.
Okay.
Of, he evidently he knew Master Yoda.
He did, right?
And then she gives a look to him, acknowledging that, Master Yoda's no longer here, evident because they have that sort of psychic connection somehow, and he looks down like he's all sad, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So just being able to be able to get, I mean, even the part where she's psychologically like mind melding with him, pardon the Star Trek reference, but when she sort of has that mind connection with them, and it looks like he's emoting or reacting,
talking up a storm.
Oh God, I don't know. I just like
Well, they're in that scene too where they're training him. I really like where she leans down and says, "I sense much fear in you." Like, how iconic is that line to come
Yoda said
down?
the line, yeah.
Well, she said it, it's been said about Anakin. It's something that they recognize as dangerous and can go different ways. And I don't know, that really stood out to me, especially not knowing the character as intimately, but hearing her say something that I am more intimately familiar with was really a nice kind of bonding moment there.
Well, she does that. I mean, I think that's the cool thing is the dialogue they give her relates to a lot of things we've seen before. So it feels very natural. I mean, when she's explaining the Force, that's part of that is the same thing Obi-Wan tells Luke in New Hope when he's explaining the Force to him. We have that. I mean, it's just so very cool. Because we had some of that stuff with Phantom Menace, I'm not gonna train him type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's amazing how it all becomes cyclical in this universe, and it feels very natural because we've had these conversations before. So it seems like that's the best way to explain these situations or deal with it. But yeah, I love so many elements of this this episode.
Yeah. Well, with all the answers that we got, we also got a lot of questions, right? So we found out Yoda was on Coruscant and being trained at the, during the time of Order 66, right? But somehow escaped. Somebody freed him, or
they said
saved him.
I thought
they did they say captured?
I need to go back and rewatch it. I don't remember if they said he escaped or if he was captured.
I think they said something like he was to the effect removed, so him out, but I don't
escaped with him. Maybe.
Yeah.
So I interpreted that as, little old Palpatine, like walked his way over there after Anakin was done and was like, yes.
Lunch. Wait.
Wow.
Well, I think it had to happen before the one thing happened that we won't.
Yeah, the one that becomes a meme now.
Yeah. But okay. So and then we find out like a history. It's quick, right? That he was somewhere and then things got dark and then now he has the time with Mando and that they've created a great bond and with those bonds, with those attachments, Ahsoka is saying that she's seen that before and it leads to problems, which is interesting because Vader, yes, which she has a history with. For those who don't know, she was Anakin's Padawan. So, did I just say that funny on my behalf? But what do we? Padawan, not Padawan. What do we think of all this? What do we think of the backstory, Vanessa? What did this really cement Grogu's place in Star Wars?
Oh, absolutely. How perfect to tie him into that moment, right? To just bring everything together from that moment and what his little journey has been like over this time. And, and then they talk about, she's like, he's suppressed his powers to keep himself safe, to be able to hide. Well, does that mean he's been alone for moments of his life? Like, that's so sad for a plastic toy that we care so much about, it's incredible that we can make these sort of emotional bonds, that the story can be told and written and shown in such a fantastic way that we can create these bonds with these little characters. But I absolutely, he 100% is a part of the canon now. Like I think from the moment you saw his face,
that might be true.
Part of everyone's heart. Like, you can't not love this face, no matter what. You can hate a porg, you can hate what are those teddy bears? What?
Ewok.
The Ewoks.
The teddy bears.
The teddy bears, yeah. But you can't hate Grogu. You just can't.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Well, I almost feel like that. I feel like that we should have like a side venture where we show like Anakin's about to show up to kill the younglings, and Grogu's like, "Ooh, something shining." He's wandered off.
That's his story.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably what happened because he was probably getting himself in trouble.
He was even littler then.
Yeah.
He
So
was-
he was gonna like obnoxious and was like running out and, ooh, a shiny ball. Let me go after that.
I can't wait for the special edition of Revenge of the Sith where they
Yeah. I
CGI him in.
I really
somewhere.
hope somebody.
No, don't hope that.
I almost want to do that myself. If I do that, I'll let you guys know.
Like it
but-
doesn't even have to be like in like obvious. It could just be him like sitting in a chair in like in the background of one of the scenes where Obi-Wan and like Anakin are just walking down the hallway before everything got bad.
And he like falls into a toy bin.
Yeah. Oh my god. So I want to talk about Ahsoka.
Yeah, do it. Let's do it. That's the time to do it.
Well, more so like ask you guys so you can give me more information because I am super disappointed that she didn't get on that ship with Mando and Grogu. So what does that mean? Are we going to see her again? Are we going to get a spin-off like we've been, hinting at?
Yes.
I'm really interested to see. I think their dynamic together was so amazing, and I know her lifespan is limited too. We all know that. So I want to know, like, what is this in between story? Where do you guys think it's going? Because from what I've heard so far is that she was like an Anakin character, but more so, and that she basically deified Anakin to the point where she didn't even believe, the things that he did until she saw it herself. So I wonder what her insight is like.
So she at one point denounced or left the Jedi Order and has become more of a follower of the Force. So she doesn't identify as a Jedi, which might be part of the reason why she doesn't want to train Grogu as a Jedi, is because she feels that it would be difficult for her to make Grogu be a follower of the light side of the Force and only the light side of the Force. But one of the okay, that was one side tangent. The last time we saw her, she was pulled out of this weird realm called the World Between Worlds, where she basically went into hiding from a couple years before A New Hope until after Return of the Jedi. And then she came out of hiding because she knew that she could not intervene in the time that in the events that happened during the original trilogy, because she saw all of that during or she sensed all of that while she was in the World Between Worlds. And so the very last thing that we saw of her is that she was out trying to find another Jedi named Ezra Bridger. And that took place right after Return of the Jedi. That scene did. So for the 5 years between Return of the Jedi and Mandalorian, that gap is kind of a big question mark. And
because don't we see her going off with not Bo-Katan, Sabine, and heading after for Ezra? Now all this was in Rebels, we should say, and I've heard some people suggest that maybe that scene that you're talking about actually hasn't happened yet in chronological. That this particular encounter is before that.
I'd be very possible. I mean, they just said, or all of Filoni confirmed is that scene where she goes off to find Ezra is happens after Return of the Jedi. So,
right. And then of course this is too. So, where that's all we do now. Okay, so we have to kind of jump from this into the big name drop because Ezra.
That's important to where the story is going.
Yes. So Ezra, of course, was not the only one that is he is lost in this weird
Space whales.
space whales, but he's lost with somebody, and somebody's looking for that somebody. Who is that somebody there, Slapman?
Thrawn.
And Admiral Thrawn. Vanessa, any idea who this is?
Not really. No.
Not really. Not really. Have you looked it up at all? Have you? We talked about it a little bit.
I've heard the name in other reviews and info videos I've watched, but nothing to really that I know who they're talking about.
Now, Christopher G. Moore, you and I have been talking with. This is what we've been waiting for. To get his name involved, and then eventually get that character on the screen, the big, small screen, big screen, any screen. He's been in the animated shows, right? He was in Rebels. What do you think? Was this a great moment?
Well, he was actually a character in the books and the expanded universe books that are no longer canon.
Yeah, first. Right?
He was in that first. So I think, like most things, it's interesting how some of these things that people thought, oh, we'll never get to see, but now we get to see that. It's a different iteration of it. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool how he's gone for something they thought, oh, we'll never see, to because he's such a beloved character from those books. They included a version of that character in Rebels, and so now we get to see sort of a live action thing now. That may be even weirder, because I mean, it was weird enough where people were worried about an orange faced Ahsoka Tano, but now we got like a blue faced dude with red eyes.
I would argue that's not as weird. We've seen that before.
Well,
I don't know. Well, but I think that's a little bit different, because it's still. I think Ahsoka Tano's still a very human looking, just with stained skin. So this one, you have like a blue dude with like sunken cheeks and red eyes. So
haven't we
had guy blue in the last episode?
The little fish
when
guy?
That Mando caught, like the fish guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's more. I think. I guess. I guess he's sort of.
Thrawn is very, very humanoid, though. Like the only thing, so Ahsoka has like the man, or what did you call them? The mandibles.
Well, they're Leku. They're called Leku.
Yeah. Leku. Yeah. So she's got the Leku, right? So that kind of makes her look more alien. But Thrawn is literally, if you take a human and paint them blue.
And give them
red
eyes. Though.
And plus, we've been used to an orange person in the president's seat for 4 years. So,
but no
Lagoos though.
Yeah. Well, that's
that we know of.
But yeah, I think it'll be interesting, because I think he's such a badass sort of villain type character. So to see in him any kind of formation, I think for it to be a spin-off, for him to be the big baddie, to where she's going to be chasing after him, like like Boss Hog versus the Duke boys.
Wow, that's a deep cut.
Or the general people after the 18. Yeah. And I'm sure all those references went over the head of millennials.
Or the bribe to kill to Bill.
Yes, something to that effect. So that would make a very interesting show. To where it's all about the chase and getting close and getting far and getting close, back and forth. So yeah, I think it will be kind of interesting if they. I think as we get, how many episodes do we have left? Three. So I doubt. I don't know. I kind of doubt that we'll cross paths with her again. But I think that's good. It's a really good introduction to a character, which they've done in other types of shows and other channels and that kind of thing before.
Well, so if this season follows what last season did, we'll basically get all our characters together for the finale, right? All our,
I guess if
I don't think that Ahsoka's coming back for the finale, though.
You don't?
Let me tell you why. Because he got the Beskar spear.
That's true, and that's what. Well, we know what that's going to go up against, right?
Yes.
Now, okay. We have to stop here and pause for a second, because you just remind me of one of the cooler moments is crossed arms, lightsabers stopped. Awesome, right? The Beskar armor stopped lightsabers, and of course, so did the spear. He's got the spear. He's going to go up against, yes, Moff Gideon, who has a dark saber, right? So that's going to happen.
Dark saber.
The dark saber. There's not many dark sabers. Just one.
There is one.
Only one.
Just one.
There can only be one. Right?
Yeah, Highlander.
Although I will say I would assume that the season ender would be where he meets, where they go to that, what's a Typhid or whatever the name of that planet is, and they go to that place, and I think they'll meet a Jedi.
Ooh, so you think that'll be like the coda at the end?
I think the coda, I think, would be them showing up.
It'll probably be better than the one at the end of A Force Awakens. If it's the Jedi, I think it's going to be.
Well, it could be. There's a number of them.
Let's not bash other things and focus on the good that's in this. But I will say that I think that but again, there could be, I mean, there's rumors that, well, I hate saying rumors, but there's rumors that Ezra may show up. There's rumors that
Mace Windu, Luke Skywalker, even
Skywalker. So it really could be anybody.
It could also just be a bunch of Force ghosts that they meet.
You know, there's so many rumors out there. It's crazy. They're even saying they're talking to.
I mean, why else would Hayden Christensen come back? Why else would have Ewan McGregor show up on set in Jedi robes?
Did he do that?
For his spin-off show.
Yeah, but who's to say he doesn't have a cameo?
Oh man, stop! Oh, they're talking about all kinds of things, and
they have to do it.
Right. Okay. So one big reveal that we kind of skipped over is that, of course, Ahsoka says she won't train him, but to take him to this planet that they name and to put him up on a rock. Slapdown, what is this planet and this rock?
The planet's not really been in a lot of canon stuff. It was more in extended universe, like Legends stuff now. So this is their way of bringing it into canon, I think. But it's basically just think of a Jedi temple, but on steroids. That's the map.
Yes, it's a planet of the Jedi.
Like it's like just a very strong beacon of the Force. Especially, I think it's more of the light side, but it might just be the Force. The Force. Yeah, no light, no dark. Just. Yeah.
And of course, she said, put him on this rock. You're going to tell me what the rock is here in a second, and he'll reach out, and perhaps a Jedi will feel that and come to train. Yeah. And of course, that just like you said, just had our minds racing. They raced for the past 5 minutes. What? Okay, did we saw a similar rock in the past couple of films, didn't we? Wasn't Luke sitting on one?
Well, Luke had a similar type, but it was like a shrine, or it was a Jedi temple was where he was at in Force Awakens and the newer films. But yeah, I think those are just regular Jedi temples and stuff. But on that planet is supposed to be like the most holy.
It's the planet,
to Jedis.
Kind of like how Malachor, I think it's Malachor, is the Sith planet. This is supposed to be the Jedi planet.
Yeah, and and so anybody could show up. I saw a video today where they said that Yaddle was going to show up. I was like, I don't
no Yaddles. I don't think we're going to do Yaddles. Vanessa, does this make your head spin? All this stuff.
A little bit, but I'm just more excited to see where it's all gonna go. I really am. I kind of think you're right. I don't think we'll see Ahsoka again, but I think we'll see Bo-Katan again. I kind of have a feeling she'll come around toward maybe at the finale or something like that, especially if they're gonna end up fighting Moff Gideon for the Darksaber, which there are plenty available at Target, guys.
I know. I was at Best Buy the other day for Black Friday stuff, and I saw like all these Star Wars toys. Yep. They even had like the new the ship that had all the different stormtroopers in it from the first season.
Oh, yeah.
That was actually original toy that now has become canon.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I saw a video today that actually brought some light to the Magistrate. It wasn't really spelled out, but I don't know. We haven't really talked about her that much, but
she was awesome.
Well,
She was.
Ahsoka Tano said that she came from a place where her people were massacred. Okay.
There's a lot of places like that.
Okay, but if you look at her outfit, if you look at the little design of the moon and crescents on her forehead, she could be one of the Night Sisters. And it was actually the hairstylist who did her hair said that she was from, is it Dathomir? Dathomir, which is the planet that the Night Sisters were on. So she possibly could be one of the Night Sisters who survived the massacre on that planet. Mm-hmm. Which would be the reason why she's able to fight against Ahsoka Tano so well, against a Force user so well, you know. So anyway, I know it hasn't been spelled out 100%, but I could easily see a Filoni being such a master of all this information and just having in there little tidbits, but not really spelling it out for you. I think that'd be really interesting if it tied into the Clone Wars stuff with the Night Sisters.
It would be. It would be. Of course, she's also Bruce Lee's goddaughter. So
did she kill her? Did she end up killing her? Do we know?
I
don't
know,
so.
But I think she.
We don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't think she killed her.
I don't think she did from the way.
She said that like you either tell me the information or you're going to die type thing. So
she found out, right?
Oh, by the way, another one cool. I hate going back to the stuff at the very beginning when she's doing the lightsaber stuff, and she cuts the tree.
Yes, and the tree lands.
No, she uses her force powers to knock the middle part of the tree.
Yeah,
she slashed it twice, the middle part of the tree,
and then when she just went.
Yeah, and then when she's fighting, she does the high ground thing where she goes up top. So anyway, I don't know. Every time she's fighting, I had goosebumps in this episode like I did the very first episode. There were several parts where I clapped and cheered for parts. This episode's so well crafted.
Yeah, this is one of the. I think this will be one of the episodes we talk about. Years down the line when we're looking back at all the seasons of The Mandalorian. This is going to be one of the highlights. But we have to stop soon. But there's one more little nugget hidden in there I want Slatman to talk about, and that's if you look closely, there's an owl.
Owl.
Did you see the owl, Slatman? What is it? There's a history with that owl, right?
Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be the daughter looking after Ahsoka.
Right. And that's kind of awesome, right? That they did that.
They
most people probably didn't even see it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's awesome, and it goes back to all the way back to an episode in the Clone Wars that I don't really want to spoil, but it goes really in depth into like the physical manifestations of the light side and the dark side of the Force, and Anakin and Ahsoka's place in it, and and ever since then you've seen that little bird be around Ahsoka in times of need.
So that's the kind of awesome that Dave Filoni brings to this. And if anybody should be steering the Star Wars universe along with, it should be him, right?
Him and Favreau together, just like they make a great team.
Absolutely. I mean, this is, and they're talking about so much stuff that's on the horizon that, between this and Bo-Katan and all these other characters, new characters, will we get? What's Dr. Aphra? If we get her, which if we do, we'll get Darth Vader with her. And they want Darth Vader, but I don't know if they can do a Darth Vader show, but they could definitely do her with Darth Vader as a sub character, right?
I mean, Darth Vader was a sub character in Rebels, and it was probably one of the best parts. Vader was one of the best parts, and then Thrawn came, and then Thrawn was one of the best parts.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cool things in the future. There will be a lot of things to talk about. I imagine after these episodes are over, we probably have a couple of extra episodes just to talk about what we saw and what we want to see. My brain's spinning on that, but we need to wrap this up. We're almost as long as the show itself. Let's give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And we're going to have to keep our final thoughts kind of short, guys, this time. But before we do, if you're listening now, one, thank you. Thank you for watching the show, The Mandalorian, and then watching our show too as well, and hanging out with us. Please subscribe down below to help others find us. Hit the like button, dislike button if you want. Hit the bell if you want to get reminded. Leave some comments. What do you think? I want to know, what Jedi do you think is going to show up and when? That's my question. But now let's do it. Let's give our final thoughts, our score and favorite scene. Slapman, you're up first.
This episode was excellent. I'm going to go ahead and give my score. It's a 6 out of 10.
Nice. A 6 out of 10.
Or 6 out of 5.
There you go.
6 out of 5. I was
I knew
so
what you
excited
meant.
I knew what you meant
Weird
too, but
Jedi logic.
It took me a while to figure out what you said, though.
It's awesome. This episode has so much jam-packed into it that we've easily talked about it longer than the episode is even airs, and we still haven't touched on so much.
There's a lot to talk about,
yeah, there's so much to talk about. And like, one of the things we didn't mention is that the droids that were in the thing had freaking the insignia that Thrawn used in Legends and in the books.
And they spoke Hut.
Yeah.
HK-87, I think they were.
Yeah. So like there's so much here. The action in this episode was awesome. The portrayal of Ahsoka was awesome. The every little thing that we learned about every character, not just Grogu, but we also, I feel like we learned a little bit more about Mando and his attachment to and how much he actually cares about Grogu.
Yeah.
Like we haven't even talked about that, but that they really fleshed that out a little bit more, as well as fleshing out Grogu's love and attachment for Mando, which I think is going to come back in a couple episodes in a big way. Just have a gut feeling. But yeah, and then there's just it's so great. They did a great job putting so much into this episode to just make every Star Wars fan just happy and giddy and excited. And if this is what we can expect from the upcoming Ahsoka series that the Disney just announced, and if this is the level of where Mandalorian is going for the next couple of episodes, I cannot wait. And it's going to be a long 3 weeks waiting for these next couple episodes.
Oh, it's going to be a long year waiting for the next season too. Oh
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I loved it. My favorite scene was there's so many great scenes.
There are.
It was probably when Ahsoka went to the magistrate and threw the piece of Beskar armor and was just like, your assassin's dead and stuff. And then Mando came in and the interaction between Mando and the civilian that he keeps like seeing throughout the episode.
Yes.
Like that whole scene was awesome. Just
that the civilian you're talking about who becomes the new magistrate is an Imagineer
from Disney.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's an Imagineer. I don't have his name in front of me. Christopher, you and I were talking about the other night, but yeah, he is responsible for a lot of high profile changes in the past decades. Yeah, congrats to him. He got a line too. Look out. All right, Vanessa, you're up next. What is your final thoughts, your score and favorite scene?
Oh, I loved it too. I can definitely say a 5 out of 5 for sure. I so greatly appreciate the strong female characters in this series. Like, they are knocking it out of the park, and they're so well developed and given so much, there's so much meat on the bone there with what they can do and what they've been able to offer and how they've pulled from all these different stories and given them time to shine. And I love that we have these strong Latino actors as such amazing, well-loved characters. It just, it makes the show so well-rounded. I feel like there's so many layers to it that just make it so amazing and palatable for so many people, whether you're diehard fans and know everything about the property, or you're someone who's seen the movies like me, who's a fan of the property and can still enjoy it without really knowing much of the context of what's going on. Yeah, it's great. I love that we got to know a little bit more about Grogu too, and like you were saying, his connection with Din and his story, and that tie-in to that awful thing Anakin did. It just really, really makes him a part of the universe so deeply, as he is in all our hearts.
True.
So favorite scene is that opening scene. That is
nice.
Badass fighting scene. The choreography was phenomenal, and her moving like a ninja, like a Jedi, through the smoke and the shadows, and all you see is her lightsaber appear, and he's knocking people out. It's just so beautifully crafted, and her face, Rosario Dawson's face, just fits the way they had it lit by those lightsabers, and the look of it, and the makeup they did just looked so perfect. It really just looked absolutely, nothing looked off. It didn't look like makeup. It didn't look like she was pretending to be someone else. She literally looked like that character. And I think that was extraordinarily important, especially for people who know that character so well. But to really just to sell someone that powerful, that strong, and that someone like me knows nothing about, they really nailed it. It's on that opening fight. So cool.
Yeah. They did run the danger of having it look like cosplay, right? Yeah, they had the danger of it.
Okay.
It was a risk, but I don't think they pulled it off. It did not. It looked like a character. It did not look like cosplay.
When she had that maroon outfit too, that very iconic maroon outfit of hers, awesome.
Yeah, even the hood, everything. Yeah. All right, Christopher G. Moore. Final thought. Everybody sit down. We got another 10 minutes here. Final thoughts. Score. Favorite scene.
How dare you? Oh, by the way, Wing Chao was the Imagineer. He worked for over 37 years, from 1972 to 2009. Worked on all 4 Disney Cruise Line ships: Disneyland Paris, Hong Kong Disneyland, and Tokyo Disneyland. And he was named a Disney legend at last year's D23 Expo. So, and that's what I love about this show.
You got promoted to magistrate.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the love and the passion these people put into the show, because they have people who are big fans of it. Whether it's the guy from Kim's Convenience that ended up becoming a Rebel pilot. Mm-hmm. This is definitely. I know we say this a lot, but this is definitely one of the best episodes of the series. The production design is chef's kiss. I mean, it's their homage to like samurai movies, with almost like a samurai village. That whole thing. There's even the buildings are very just like the Hutt Palace in Return of the Jedi. It's reminiscent, because his palace was actually was like a monastery or Jedi monastery or something at one time. But yeah, I mean, just the use of the use of light. I mean, the burnt out forest. There's like trees that look very Tim Burton-esque, with the light behind the moon behind it. There's just the visual stuff. The visual production design in this is amazing, and just even the look of that town, especially when you have Mando and Michael Bihn's character on the street, just like a Western. You have the magistrate and Ahsoka Tano, who's in that sort of like with water on each side, almost like a koi pond type thing. But I'm sure they're not koi; they're probably some weird ass alien type fish.
I thought you were going to say antfish. That'd be awesome.
Well, it could be.
That surprised me.
But yeah, the choreography, just how they put everything together with that stuff it's pretty flawless. Being able to introduce such a character who's such an iconic thing to Star Wars fans, and to be able to pull it off well, just shows that Dave Filoni, shows his passion for the character and making sure that it works. And also showering the love on the stuff that makes us love Star Wars, from the original trilogy to the prequels to even Clone Wars and Rebels. You have all that stuff mixed in there, just makes it an amazing episode and an amazing show. So this definitely gets a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 20 out of 20, 100 out of 100, whatever you want to use. It's the Beskar level of greatness. As for favorite scene, it's probably going to be the one moment that made me shout on my couch.
Yes.
And that's when the second fight scene, when she jumps up, not only does she slash the guy in half, but she slashes that bell in half.
Yes. Oh, wow. That was awesome. Yes.
That was one of the most badass things I've ever seen, because they even just how they it's bong, and then they allowed the weight of it when it rolled off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just something about that.
He
just
walked down alone between them, towards them.
Yeah. It's like,
that was amazing.
I just and it's just how you don't have to show anything. They even did that stuff in the very first action scene. You just see stuff in the shadows. You see stuff behind trees. They don't necessarily have to show people cut in half in front of you. And so I think that just shows the artistry and the talent of Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau in the process of creating these episodes. And it just makes me, again, it's another episode. It's like, I don't know how they can top this, but I'm sure they'll find some way to do that.
They're going to.
And we'll just all be excited, and then we'll be really sad when it will be like, sad Grogu when he thinks about Yoda being dead at the very end of the season, because we're like, oh, gotta wait a whole nother pandemic for it to come back on.
Stop.
So anyway, I love this episode, and yeah, the bell thing. That's the scene I always look forward to seeing, because it's just like I was literally like, damn, that was just so awesome.
I'll keep this short. I loved it. This is one of 3 favorite episodes. For me, probably 2 of the most iconic episodes that we've gotten so far. The first episode, of course, when we discover who the child is. How can you ever forget that? I loved the first episode this season. For me, that really worked for a lot of reasons. Boba Fett not being the only one, and of course this episode. And this episode probably will. I don't know. This is going to be. I feel like we watched history in the making. I really think that we watched history in the making. This is going to be, when was there a time when Ahsoka wasn't live action and played by Rosario Dawson, right? It's amazing. I think the transition is fantastic, and she works. She works as better than I could have hoped. I thought it was great casting, and it was extraordinary casting. Good job.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 6 out of 5 as well. I'll do that.
6 out of 10.
I'll do 6 out of 10, 6 out of 5, 6 out of 15. Regardless, will they make a 7 out of 5? I hope so. To look forward to them topping this is exciting. Exciting as all get out. I think this is the most excited I've been for Star Wars since Star Wars, right? It even had Michael freaking Biehn in it as this aged old guy. We got this great scene, this gunfight scene, which could easily be my favorite scene. But I'm going to go with the fight scene between Ahsoka and the magistrate, because she held her own. She had the was it Baskar's sword, not sword, but staff, and spear, and just how she handled it and how they fought each other, and she even knocked one of the lightsabers away. So that's how skilled she was. So she was no slacker, and just the possibilities of what that's going to mean in Mando's hands in the future is exciting in and of itself. But the cherry on the top was, tell me, where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? Come on, Yeah, they said it. They did it. And of course, now we just wait for him to show up. Oh my gosh, I have a feeling it's not going to be this season.
If they do, it's going to be a cameo at the very end.
It's definitely going to be like the Stinger, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine they'll save that for her show, right?
I suspect. But who knows, right? Who knows?
Maybe they'll make another movie out of it.
Ooh.
There's all kinds of things we can do.
They're doing one-offs.
But there you go. That's our show for tonight. We've gone an hour, but we can't end tonight. It's a little bit of a sad note, but we do need to say rest in peace, David Prowse, who we learned passed away. Was it today or the weekend? Of course, Darth Vader himself. Even if he didn't get to do the voice, but he definitely gave him the embodiment, his incredibly tall and muscular stature. And he was also, as much as fans loved him, he loved the fans. I don't know if you ever got a chance to see him at a convention or meet with him, talk with him. He was always personable and very friendly and a very warm guy. And he will be missed, and he will forever be remembered as, well, for me, I'm also going to remember for a string of Hammer films, but that's a different podcast.
He always signed his autograph. David Prowse is Darth Vader, and I consider him to be Darth Vader because he was the physical embodiment. Sure, he didn't do some of the lightsaber fights, but just his movement, his physicality under that mask. In the same way we have this guy that's under the Mando outfit, he was really embodied the character and the physicality of that, and it's kind of sad to see him go.
Well, even James Earl Jones, said that he wanted his name. He didn't want to go credited because he wanted David Prowse to be known. So,
yeah,
good things. But sad news about Mr. Prowse. Rest in peace. He will be missed, and like I said, always remembered. Oh man, Vanessa, Christopher, Slatman, thank you for joining me tonight.
Oh man, I love coming together and talking about this wonderful show.
Star Wars is awesome.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. It is. With that, let's say good night.
Good night.
And
Good
Vanessa's
night.
going to give us a shot of the Baby Yoda as we close out.
Baby
Put him up.
Yoda, baby Yoda,
Grogu!
baby Yoda.